Yes, here we go again. We are on the road again. It is a Friday feeling. Have all you guys got that Friday feeling? You should, because international break is over and Celtic are back in action tomorrow. And here we are on the bus for our usual preview of the weekend's action. Celtic v Dundee tomorrow. As you can see tonight, it is myself along with David Og. No yellow ties this time, because the last time you and I, David, were doing that Friday feelings 2 weeks ago. Seems was it 3 weeks ago? I can't even remember now. It was that long ago. But yeah, we were yellow tied up for the transfer window closing. But yeah, none this week at all. But yeah, we're back in action tomorrow. Cannot wait for it. How are you feeling tonight, David?
I'm doing good, mate. I feel like it's been ages since I've been on, which in fact, it has been ages since I've been on. I'm currently in the middle of getting ready to move house, so like the house is just kind of taken over. So trying to find time to do it is proving difficult. But I'm here this fine Friday evening when Phil puts that wee Phil light up in the sky. Who am I not? Who am I not to answer the call?
Dear me, the Phil signal just cast up into the sky there. But yes, you answered the call, David. So thank you very much for coming on. Because yeah, I was having a bit of a last minute scramble tonight because it's Friday night and lots of people are busy on a Friday night. Hence why one of the reasons why Bustalgia had to move, because it's a long show. I was usually doing a Friday night and people are busy. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why that moved. But here we are, going to be talking about this weekend's game because Celtic are back. We're all excited about it because yeah, the international break. As much as I'm enjoying Scotland at the moment, the England game was a bit of a sobering experience and kind of a bump of reality where Scotland are at the moment. But yeah, it's all over and done with. And yeah, let's get back to the good stuff, guys. And speaking of the good stuff, you can do all that good stuff that helps us out on this channel. You obviously hit that like button, help out algorithm, CSC, and of course get the Bhoycie Bus recommended in more people's inboxes on YouTube. Also get involved in our comment section tonight. Leaving comments, of course, after the video helps massively. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Please do. We'd appreciate it massively. Over 4,200 at the last count, I think I saw. So doing not too bad, this humble little channel. But yeah, you can join those people. Obviously, hit that subscribe and hit that bell notification to be reminded when we are on the road. And as you'll find it very quickly, it's a lot. And of course, you can share the link of the Bhoycie Bus far and wide on whatever social media platform happens to be your poison. Of course, head over to piesports.com. There, whatever corner it's in. I always get it wrong. And yeah, use that code BUS1888 to get 12.5% off your tasty pastry orders. Well, that's said and done. Yeah, David, let's get into it, mate. So say Celtic Dundee tomorrow. Not played Dundee in a wee while. They're one of these yo-yo teams in the SPL or SPFL, up and down. And yeah, last season obviously they were down in the championship, but yeah, they came up last season, had a bit of a slobber knocker finish to the season. Pittman Queen's Park, I believe, they were chasing them down for the title. They had some ridiculous 5-3 game that got them promotion, but yeah, now we play them. This is the last time. I was trying to remember the last time we played them. It was Mark McGee was in charge, which was just another weird debacle in the world of Scottish football from 2 years ago. But yeah, they're playing a bit better than what they were this time. But ultimately, it's kind of the perfect game you want Celtic to come back with. And I do realise that we did say this a couple of weeks ago about St Johnstone. Well, like St Johnstone, that's the perfect game you want Celtic to play, especially after a cup game defeat. But Dundee home after beating Rangers, they've had to stew on it for 2 weeks. We've had to obviously bask in the glory for 2 weeks. It is a good game to be coming back to at Celtic Park as well. So you're looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it. I feel like it's been ages since we've had a proper, like, we've seen Celtic give somebody a proper doing, and I feel like maybe this is the game to do it. This is the game to really get us up and running, get the confidence in some of the guys getting ready for to go into the European game. Kyogo could probably do with getting a couple of goals to this. I mean, and there was talks of maybe we should be wrapping up in bubble wrap and resting them for Europe, but I don't think that's probably, if that's where we're at. I think it was the guys were discussing it last night. If that's where we're at, then that's not good reading at all. That we can't risk our best player because in case he gets injured. I mean, go out there and try and get the job done early if we can, and then maybe we give O a run out. I don't want to see him start tomorrow. I think we go out with our strongest team. Maybe put in a couple of boys, give them a run. Like what we might see Palmer maybe. Let's talk about whether maybe it's a bit early to give Palmer a run out. I mean, come on, this guy was playing football. He done his pre-season, he done Europe qualifiers, and he started the season really well. He goes and scores and assists on international duty.
Yeah.
I think he's more than ready to go out against newly promoted Dundee at home. So yeah, see him get a run. I mean, Abada's he's not fit now. I know Palmer's more suited to the left, but I'm sure we know that he can play across both sides. So yeah, give him a go. Like this panic of Abada now being injured when he wasn't even a starter last season, and now all of a sudden because we don't have Jota, it's panic stations that Abada's now going to be out. Well, if we went through this window properly, like we hoped that they would, and how Celtic and Brendan are trying to convince us that they have, then we shouldn't really be worrying about Abada not being able to be starting tomorrow, because we should have improved in the transfer window that it's not going to be an issue. So we shall see. I am looking forward to the game. It's like I said, it's one of those. It's a warm up game. Let's put it that way. A nice wee confidence booster, or it should be.
It should be, yes. Because again, tentatively, we have to remember that we did say similar things about that St Johnstone game. But hopefully, after what happened with beating Rangers, you've got to imagine that this will be the real kickstart to the season. Because one thing Celtic haven't handed out yet so far domestically is a real do in their team. An actual a proper pasting for them, because we became accustomed to that in Brendan's first season in particular. I know a lot of people go on about how the football did regress under Brendan, but ultimately there was still trophies galore along the way. But in the first season, the Invincible treble season, there was some serious doings for some teams along the way. So hopefully this is the type of game where we can, get that big win on the board. And yeah, an early goal would obviously go a treat, because we can tell right now exactly what's going to happen, how Dundee are going to set out, even though at the start of the season, there was rules came in, there was changes in the whole stoppage time stuff. They were trying to make it more like the World Cup last year, and we've seen a few games so far this season where stoppage time has been quite excessive. I thought in the first couple of games of the season, where the way Ross County and Aberdeen sort of got stuck into us and had a go, especially Ross County in the first 20 minutes at Celtic Park, where most teams come to Celtic Park and sit with 10 men behind the ball, but they had a real go, and I thought it was influence from these new rules, where they thought, well, we can't just come and sit with 10 men behind the ball, because the referee's going to keep acting on stoppage time. So that's what I felt they were doing. But then we saw St Johnstone, what they did, and they obviously did not get the memo about that, and they just didn't care. They were time wasting and so on, and that's what I can imagine Dundee doing a similar thing tomorrow. So it's so vital that we come out the traps flying, and it's not 0-0 at half time, because unfortunately, that is the type of thing that gets fans a bit angsty. That's when you start to feel that needle in the stadium, when it is like 0-0 at half time, you get to like an hour and it's still goalless, and that's when you're starting to get a bit agitated. Because I would love it obviously if every game, we just turn up and just rattle teams 4-5-0, no problem. But they don't always play out that way. So hopefully tomorrow we do just set out right. We break down these this low block that you'd expect Dundee are going to play. And an early goal scuppers any plans that they've got, and hopefully we can then go on and get a nice resounding victory from that one, David.
Yeah, I think obviously the way we've been used to watching Celtic play the last couple of years has made us kind of become a bit maybe impatient. Even when it comes to playing teams like St Johnstone, Dundee, teams that we expect to be maybe 2-3-0 up before half time, just because of the way Ange had set us up the last couple of years. But Brendan's a bit more possession based in terms of being more patient and finding that key pass and unlocking teams a bit differently than maybe just kicking the door down that Ange was more keen on doing. I think Brendan's a bit more getting the tools out and picking at the lock rather than just head first. So maybe it's just a case of the team's obviously adapting to Brendan's way, and we are having to readapt to Brendan's style of football. But I am excited about the game. There's the likes of Phillips. Are we going to see him start tomorrow? Despite and if he does that, who drops out? Does it Lager could drop out? They get the upcoming Swedish defender that we were being all hyped up about, or is it going to be Liam Scales, who, as far as we were concerned before the window shut, that he probably shouldn't even be in a Celtic top? But he got man of the match in the last game. So I mean,
he can't do much more, really, can he?
yeah, well, yeah. Does he deserve to be dropped? Probably not. I mean, but yeah, I think Phillips, if he's fit, he'll get a year tomorrow, and I'd like to see what he can offer us. He's I'd seen quite a bit of him. It wasn't like it was it last year, or the year before, when Virgil van Dijk was injured,
He
and
played. It was the COVID season when every stadium was empty because it was early on at Goodison that Van Dijk got the injury for Pickford.
Yeah, it might have been that season, and I mean he did. I think he did pretty well considering, like, you know, they could have went out and signed another centre half, and they chose to trust Phillips, and you know now, and Klopp's been quite complimentary of the fact that of his skill set that we've been offered for until January. They are not too keen to give us some for a full season, so that might suggest that Klopp's maybe going, look, we might have an injury crisis of our own. We might need this boy back. You can have him just now. Is there any chat of that extending? Is that a possibility?
It just seems to be we'll review it in January. The news on that one was it's till January and both sides will review it then, because if all our centre backs are back fit and Phillips, you know, is basically not in contention, then what would be the point in them staying for another 6 months? So they're going to review it then. The way our players are dropping right now, injuries, you can't rule out, David, that we get to January and there's a few more out. So I think overall the deal makes sense for both sides right now, where it's like we'll just play it by ear. But I've got high hopes for him. I think he will be good when he plays.
Well, Jamie Grant's coming with a comment, Phil, and he's hard to disagree. He says, I think Scales deserves a left-back chance. Taylor had enough chances, and kill two birds, give Scales a reward, and tells Taylor he needs to do better. Well, what about this? Why don't we play 3 at the back and 2 up front? And is that a possibility? Is that, you know, if he doesn't, maybe, because I know there was the discussion yesterday, is Scales maybe a left back proposition there on Champions League, obviously, with Burnley not getting into the Champions League squad. Well, maybe that is obviously a possibility, but I think he does look more comfortable at centre. But did he not play centre half for Aberdeen last year?
I think he varied it. He did play in both, and when he played for Shamrock Rovers before joining us, that's who he was with, wasn't it? So he rotated with left back and left centre back as well.
So maybe we'll see some experimenting going on at the back. I don't know. I think there was some people in the chat, certainly last time I was on, that was talking about whether we should maybe be trying 3 at the back and maybe going for, you know,
I've seen a few people already tonight in the chat mentioning 3-5-2, 3 at the back, and so on. Because the thing is, will tomorrow's lineup give us any indication about, you know, will Tuesday play a part in Brendan's thinking tomorrow? Will there be anything that he'll be wanting to try out, or will he be playing it safe on Tuesday? Because obviously it's a huge game going to Rotterdam, which we'll obviously be talking about a wee bit later on as well. But yeah, in terms of team selection tomorrow, is there going to be anything in there you think he's going to be looking to? Like, Hatate's obviously back in training. Is it a case of get Hatate in now, get the minutes in the legs, or is he going to just be like save him for the big one? Because tomorrow, as I say, Dundee is going to be all about low block and just defending for their lives. And a guy like Hatate's maybe something that we needed against St Johnstone, because David Turnbull and Matt O'Reilly, it wasn't really clicking at all, a bit too slow. Maybe a guy like Hatate needs to come in, and once the game is secure, then by all means, maybe take him off and try and wrap him up a wee bit before then.
I would definitely get Hatate starting tomorrow. I also think we're going to have a different Hatate that we've seen at the start of this season already. I think we've been watching a Hatate that had one eye out on the door. Maybe thought Ange might have been interested in bringing him to Tottenham or even like other Premier League clubs. He says he's quite open. He did a pretty honest interview with a Japanese sport journalist recently. I think I see a Japanese sports journalist. I'm guessing there, or I'm assuming it was a Japanese journalist, but that he has goals that he wants to tick off, and he doesn't plan to be playing professional football for too long. Doesn't want to give up too early either, but he doesn't. You know, he obviously sees it as a short career and has goals, and maybe he's been one eye out the door expecting a move to come, and it hasn't came. And he won't be moving anytime soon now. Certainly not until at least January. So maybe we'll see a bit more of a focused Hatate. One less distracted and one focused on proving that he's still a team player, still got the goods, and if he does want that lucrative move to the Premiership, well, you're going to have to put in some pretty good performances in our European campaign. So yeah, I'd like to get him out running tomorrow. Let's see if he's laser focused on the task in hand. And I think we've talked about it plenty. That these Japanese boys are, they're professionals. They hold a high integrity and stuff, and I'm sure he will go out there and put on the performances that we've seen over the last 18 months of him. That's got him such high praise. So looking forward to seeing him back in the team. I think it would be silly to not give him a run out tomorrow. Your thoughts? Would you be wanting to wrap him up in cotton wool for Holland?
I would play him. I would always just try and get him played, because the injuries can happen anyway. I know there's a lot made out about the internationals can add to it and stuff like that. And the way I look at it is you can get easily as injured on the training park at Lennoxtown as you can play in a game. So I say just play him. Just play him. Just get him in the minutes and the legs, because he's going to need it, especially for what's coming up on Tuesday. But yeah, if it's a case of we do romp to maybe like a 3-0 lead, maybe after an hour tomorrow, if everything goes according to plan, then by all means, take him off then and the job's done. But I just think with how frustrating some of these types of teams can be when they come to Celtic Park, and if it's no going your way, just having one of the bad days in front of goal. So you'd rather have your strongest team out there to make sure the job gets done, and then you can obviously make changes then accordingly. But obviously, there's a bit of a buzz just around this game tomorrow, I feel, with the fans. Obviously, with the result before the international break's going to add to that, where you feel like fans who were a bit reserved on the Brendan appointment are now suddenly coming round to it. But there is obviously, players that have came in that we've not had a chance to see yet. There are players coming back for injury, and a guy that Stephen Donohoe's brought up here that I've got high hopes for as well, and I think is going to be an interesting player. Whether he starts, I don't know if he'll start tomorrow, but this one's been kind of quiet, because am I right in saying, David, that Bernardo didn't get the mandatory sit-down interview with Celtic TV put out there? Did I completely miss that one? Now, like they always do the sit-down with Jerry McCulloch or whoever it is, with the usual 6 or 7 questions they get asked. I'm pretty sure that I've not seen one for him yet. So it kind of like happened at the last minute on the transfer deadline. Or well, allegedly, we think the deal was probably signed 2 or 3 days before, and they waited to announce it late on. But anyway, it was done and dusted. But yeah, they've kind of kept that one quiet. But I again have high hopes for this lad, because again, we talk about the Benfica and the Ajax model. We would like our club to be like that, with what they do. And obviously, we maybe can't achieve that, but we can certainly, if we can get players from these academies after what Jota did for us, this boy's coming from good stock, I feel. And I've got high hopes for him when he does get into the team and get up to speed. I think he'll be a good acquisition.
I think they'll probably find that they'll release some interview with him soon enough. We'll get the classic. Oh, did you manage to get a chance to speak to Jota? Did he manage to tell you all about the amazing atmosphere and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Also, yes, you're right. It isn't called Holland anymore. A little slip of the tongue. The Netherlands. Please don't cancel me.
Cancelled for that.
Cancel culture for Holland.
Yeah.
Only teasing. I'm only teasing. It's Friday. Bernardo. I actually forgot we'd signed him for a second there. Actually, I'm sure he'll make the bench. Big strong lad, box to box. Looks like he's got good pedigree. Has played a handful of games for Benfica's first team.
Oh yes, that's right. The last time, yeah.
Controversy on the bus.
Yeah, it was.
Like I said, I actually completely forgot we'd signed them because there wasn't any fan.
See what I mean about this game coming up? There's a lot of unknowns for this game tomorrow. A lot of excitement and intrigue, because there's players that we've not seen yet that we expect to see. And yeah, Bernardo, Nat Phillips, Palmer. So yeah, it's quite exciting stuff for tomorrow. Hopefully we get to see all these guys at some point during the game, and we get a wee taste of it and what's to come. But yeah, you see the very fact that he just did such a mix. Again, I'm pretty sure that there hasn't been any Bernardo propaganda put out there by the club, although Jamie Grant is coming in and saying that he did have some Celtic TV stuff, but I can't remember seeing it anywhere.
Seen it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I see the last, because this international break, I just feel like I've been in a coma or something, and I just don't know what's been going on at all. Like, it's bonkers. So saying it before we came on, I was like, mate, I need to do some homework. I can't even think what's been going on. It's just all this bloody nonsense about the Scotland game. I can't even. Are we even playing this weekend? Like, what's been happening? Like, it's just been a bizarre couple of weeks. But what top is that David has on? Well, Monty, funny story. Story time with Davey. Got so this is the new away top that my lovely wife got me for my birthday the other week. Now she was like secretly raging because I'd come home for work. I got a delivery from to work, and I was like, "Look what I managed to get today," and I'll pull out the new the hooped the limited edition one, and I could see her face was just like, "Oh, aye, buying stuff for your birthday, have you? Aye, okay." But I never clocked at the time, so I'm like, "Do you like it?" And she's like, "Aye, it's nice, yeah, all right." And then literally the next morning, she hands me my birthday present, and I open it up, and it's this. And she's like, "See you bastard! You fucking bring home a Celtic top, and I've bought you this for your birthday." And I'm going, "But it's not the same top." Like, what are you getting on? Because but I got you a fucking Celtic top for your birthday, and you go and you go home and bring that home. And I'm like, green and white, black.
It's all right. It's all right because we release about 100 kits every year anyway under Adidas, so it's fine.
Another one out in 3 weeks' time. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. So but no, it's out of the 3 core strips, because obviously the limited edition one I don't think we'll be using in any league games, but that you're wearing is by far the nicest one that they've done this year.
It's the nicest one.
Yeah, the black away shirts are usually always a winner. I feel they're always very clean looking and very slick. So I'm very impressed with that one. But the home one I don't hate as much as many other people, but it's still a bit of an acquired taste, to say the least. And the third one, which it's a bit mad as well, to be fair, but I like that one. It's simple and it's effective.
I like the sort of khaki green and the wee sort of stitching down here. It is a nice top. It's a bit more. I feel like you can kind of get more away with wearing this as like a casual top as well than the home top, because that home top is just so in your face. But listen, I met when we were at the airport a few months ago. We were at the Celtic shop in the airport. I got a good look at the home top, and I was a wee bit like, oh, actually, it is actually quite smart in person, but it's definitely grown on me, like that one. But no, it was the black one. It was the one that I kept kind of leaning towards, a wee nudge, and that's it. Birthday's coming up, by the way. If you didn't know.
Subtle hint there, yes.
Lo and behold, it turned up. So
it's by magic. There
I know.
You go.
But yes, thanks, Pam, by the way. I saw your message. I appreciate that. That was nice. That's nice of you.
Yes, indeed. So we with regards to the game tomorrow, say in terms of team selection, say the sort of areas that we need to home in on, say the centre back we've talked about, say in the middle of the park if Hatate makes it or not, and say with the winger position is only the ones up for debate. Everything else I'd say is pretty much as it is. You'd probably expect Maeda will start on the other wing. If it's Palmer or Yang gets the nod on one side, I think it'll be Maeda on the other one. Kyogo will start through the middle, and your midfield, McGregor's obviously going to start being captain. O'Reilly, I'd expect him in there as well. Johnston. So I agree along with the point as well about should Scales get a chance at left back. I don't think the boy's done anything wrong, and it's something that I've definitely thought myself as well, because you're looking at the options, and the Champions League squad definitely helped confirm that with Bernabei being left out. So I do think that is the one position where I put a question mark over, and I think whatever Brendan does tomorrow in that position is going to give us a big indication for Tuesday night. But overall, the 3 options that we have potentially left back, it's like none of them's outstanding by any means. Scales has done nothing wrong so far, and as what it is if he does get a start. Taylor seems to have regressed in this system under Brendan, but he was brilliant under Ange. And Bernabei, I just don't know what's going on there. So, yeah, we're just going to need to just soldier on now until January with the left back. But we'll see tomorrow what he puts there. I think that'll give us a big clue for Tuesday night, looking ahead to it. And let's talk about that then, David, because Champions League is rolling around. It's that time again. That music will be playing on Tuesday night. It will be for all the fans heading to Rotterdam. I'm sure they'll have a fantastic time. Obviously, there's a bit of a football friends sort of mentality between Feyenoord and Celtic, but on the park, I don't want none of that birthday card pish. I don't want to be seeing quotes from Feyenoord players saying how they loved their experience against Celtic as they beat us heavily. I don't want to see any of that. I want to see us fighting for every ball and making the most, and giving them a hard game, make them work for it. If they are going to beat us, we need to make sure that they work for it, and it's not a typical Celtic performance away in Europe where we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Because again, I can't hammer this home enough. Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe, we concede the worst goals in all of Europe, I'm convinced. And it's not even just because I'm a Celtic fan with the "woe always me" card, but genuinely, some of the goals that we concede over the years, I'm just like, only that would happen to us. Just, honestly, some of the stupidity that happens. So we need to be giving them obviously the aim is to come away with something from it. The home games we need to be targeting is, try to win them. That's obviously what we're looking to do. We'll see how that plays out. But away games, this is the type of one we've got to be targeting out of the three opponents we've got, regardless if they were a pot one team, regardless of the Eredivisie champions, we have to be targeting this as a game that we have to look to get something.
I'm laughing there when you mentioned about like how like the bad goals that we we always seem to concede. I mean, you could create those crappy sort of bargain bucket DVDs that would come out where it was like just football bloopers. Like I'm pretty sure Celtic could have an entire DVD of all the ridiculous goals where we've shot ourselves in the foot in Europe. Like there's been that many. So we need to we need to just nip that in the bud now. Like we don't need any of that this season, because like you say, okay, it's probably one of the most favourable groups that we could probably have asked for. But like you say, this is still the Dutch champions, Atletico Madrid, the biggest shithousers in all of world football, with the biggest shithouse of a manager in charge of them.
Yes.
And a very good Lazio team that just scudded the Serie A
Napoli,
winners that ran away with that league last year. So it's still going to be a tough group. Do I think we can't get results against these teams? Absolutely not. I think we can. I think, without being too disrespectful, obviously no disrespect to Feyenoord, I think they're the one. That's the team that we really need to be probably targeting to try and get maximum points out of them. But like you say, they aren't mugs. They're a far better team than PSV, and we saw what they did to Rangers in qualifiers. So we need to be ready now. I think their new star striker who gets ahead of
Ueda,
Kyogo in the national team has now he got injured on international duty. Don't know how serious that's going to be. So that's obviously a blow for them, which is obviously a bonus for us. So we're going into this game with maybe a little bit of uncertainty on their side, where their goals are going to come from. I think we know where our goals will most likely come from. Let's hope that Kyogo can prove and probably solidify that he probably is the best striker we've had since Larsson by scoring in the Champions League. And I think that will be his best opportunity to do so long as we create the chances for him. And I'm sure, we're not going up against a team that are going to be in the low block and packing their defence, and we're going to have to try and manipulate our way around them. I think it'll be far more open attacking side that we'll be coming up against that we need to try and exploit. And Kyogo has to take the chances he's given. We know he can put the ball in the back of the net 3-4 times in a game, but we know before he does that, he'll miss a good 4 or 5 as well. So, and we're not going to get that amount of opportunities in these games. I know we created plenty of opportunities when Ange was in charge. I don't think we'll get as many
If I remember right, was some
Underpinning.
ridiculous number, like across the group last season, we made something like, was it 60 something chances or 60 something shots on goal on target? I can't remember the exact number. It was
I can't remember
ridiculous.
what it is. It was many
There's one of these
chances
things
created,
where
yeah.
there's teams that have won the Champions League that haven't created that many chances in the entire campaign,
Aye,
and we create
we were
that many
still up there.
chances in the group stage. Like,
I think we were
what
still
the
up there by
hell?
the time that they got to the final. We were still had created more chances than probably Inter Milan. Inter Milan probably had done because with their style of football.
Mhm. Yep.
But yeah, I think I'm quietly confident with
Mm.
going out there and getting a result.
Yeah.
I will say. I mean, I haven't seen any of them at all.
Mm.
So I'm going purely on maybe a bit of blind faith of being a Celtic fan. But I
That's what
think
it's all about.
we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
We're allowed to do that, and we'll lick our wins if we don't. But no, I'll be listen. We're very good at really, going up a level. It's whether we can sustain that and take our chances when we do that, and not, like you say, shoot ourselves in the foot. We don't want to be going 1-0 up and then suddenly we try and pass out for the back and the ball gets nicked off us and it's a tap in. And then right after that, they go just run the pitch and score again because we've got our heads in our hands still. Like we can't. We've got to focus that. And I think we've got the best manager in charge for mentality wise to do that. Yes. Previously under Rodgers, we took some proper doings.
Yeah.
But we're not going up against the likes of PSG and this time, and Barcelona's. We're going up against teams where we should have more of a fighting chance. But Phil, when you look at when that squad was revealed, I mean, you've seen it in front of you. And you've seen the likes of, well, obviously Tilio wasn't going to be getting in that team because he's not fit yet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Kwon didn't get into that squad either. Another summer signing.
Yep.
Naroki injured, can't do anything about that. But another summer signing, not in the Champions League squad.
Yep.
How many new additions from last year's Champions League squad have we got? With Palmer, Phillips,
Yang.
Yang.
Yeah, basically Kwon and Naroski, they never Antilio because of injuries, and Kwon just doesn't seem to be in the reckoning. But yeah, Bernardo and that all made it, even though he was late into the pool of players. But when you saw it for the start of the week there, when I saw it again, it kind of just highlights did Brendan get backed as well as he could have? Probably not. And he has made noise as well about, he'll coach the players that he is given. He's made noise about, he wants to try and take us to the next level. Well, this is the hand that he's now been dealt. Whether he's played a part in that hand being the way it is, if he is happy with it, so be it. And he's a manager. He sees him every day in training. Who am I to challenge it? But yeah, you look at it and you think, are we ready for this? And I guess Tuesday night, we'll find out, because what I fully expect on Tuesdays, I think with them being the home team and on the front foot in front of their own fans, they're going to probably come out the traps flying. It's going to be similar, I think, to what we would experience in games like at Ibrox, for instance, where we'd expect an early storm here, and it's a case of if we can get through it, sort of like break the game up into chunks, like 15 minutes now, and we get through each one. It's like, okay, because I don't see us like starting the game on the front foot, although that might catch them by surprise. But I just feel us being the away team and them having, we know how passionate Dutch fans can be, and being in Rotterdam, that stadium, that's a historic stadium in world football. I could just see them like being willed on by their fans to just go at us right away. So it's a case of we just have to make sure that we do not do anything stupid, give away any daft penalties or silly goals. I mean, you mentioned it there. One of the tropes that we've got is where we lose 2 quick goals in quick succession and stuff like that. We've seen that too many times. So yeah, now and again, with what Brendan did with Leicester in Europe, you'd like to think that managing them all the way through a semi-final in a competition is like surely he's picked up a few tricks of the trade, and the word of the day, Brown Warrior loves it being used as pragmatic, because that's something that he wasn't when he was Celtic manager first time around in Europe. So hopefully he takes that approach, because we cannot go into this group, regardless of it being favourable or not, treating it like we're playing St Mirren or anything like that. We need to, batten down the hatches a wee bit. I know he's an unfashionable manager, and I know after what happened in 2021 that, Neil Lennon, but there's a reason why Neil Lennon has a good record in Europe, because he actually knew that when we were going into these games, we are going to be up against it. We're going to have to batten down the hatches. That's why he got results against teams like Barcelona and Lazio home and away and stuff like that. So you got to just do that from time to time. Just forget the whole idea that we're Celtic. Just go, right, we're just going to have to just sit in a wee bit, let them have the ball, and we'll try and hit them on the counter.
I think even when you look back at just the game at Ibrox there, very little, if anybody, gave us a chance in that game. I mean, I had conceded to the fact that we were going to probably get steamrolled over by Rangers. When you look back on it, maybe I wonder why did I think that, but I did, and I think most people could probably agree with me there. And Brennan found a way to win. He found a way.
Yeah,
we were going into the Lions' Den, even though there's no lions there, is there? And we went and 50,000 angry bears.
It's a bear pit now, not a lion's den.
In the bear pit. Plenty of bears in there.
There's plenty of angry bears there.
There's plenty of angry bears there. With a makeshift defence, with a guy who, again, I don't think many of us expected to be in a Celtic shirt this season, and a guy who probably didn't see himself getting thrown in right away into that kind of game so early on, and we found a way to win. And I think that's maybe something we need to take comfort in going into these games, that, look, Dutch champions, very good, got plenty of money to spend, got a great result. I mean, I think they lost 2 games all of last season, but we've got a manager, despite all that has the experience now and the savvy and the tactical awareness to find a way to win. And I think that's maybe something that we need to make sure that we focus on, and not be, thinking, oh man, is Kyogo going to manage to score? Are we going to take our chances? Are we going to concede a stupid goal? We're going to give a penalty in the first. Let's forget all about that and try and focus on the fact that we've got a manager there that can find a way to win. And I think that's what we really need to be crossing our fingers for.
Yeah, of course. We'll all be crossing our fingers on when Tuesday night comes around. And just a quick point as well, Brown Warriors pointed out, the Conference League, that's the European League Cup, different gravy in the Champions League. 2022 Europa Conference League finalists, Feyenoord, only a year ago, who we are playing on Tuesday night. So they've made quite a quick step up then from the old Conference League to the Champions League. But yeah, only a year on from that, they were in that tournament. They were the finalists. So the level, and Roma obviously won that tournament. So the level of teams that are in that competition, and obviously it's us that are playing against them. So, we don't have the right to look at some of the teams that are in that competition and think that, that's going to be a dead and easy tournament. Because one time we were in that tournament, it was Bodo Glimt, and they absolutely done us. So, we can't really just write it off because Brendan did that in the Europa Conference League, and that's like the third tier of European football. Say Celtic, we can't, have that mentality. Say Feyenoord, they're in Champions League now because, they did win the Dutch League, but they were in the Conference League final a year ago in that same tournament that Brendan got to the semi-final. So I don't imagine their squad is too much different from what they were playing in that competition, but ultimately it will be a hard test. Say away games for Europe, away games for Celtic in Europe, they always are a test. Usually a lot of it's from our own undoing at times, but hopefully we will not be coming away on Tuesday night talking about some ridiculous moment that happened that we just caused our own downfall, and we can actually get a result there and get the group off to a decent start. Because ideally, it's exactly what we need. Say if we can turn our home form around and get something on the road. Because I do think that when you look at the group as well, David, the 3 teams there, Lazio, Atletico, Feyenoord. I think the three of them are all capable of taking points off each other. But the
Mhm.
key is then we have got to keep ourselves in the reckoning by getting points ourselves. Because it's no good if they all keep beating each other, but when any of them play us, they just beat us anyway, and we're just sitting on 0 points after 3 or 4 games. We have to make sure we're staying in the mix, because I do think that we can keep them just within arm's length and not let them run away with it. Because the group that you were talking about earlier on with the PSG one, PSG and Bayern Munich were in that group with us, and they won 15. Both of them had to win 15 points in that group. The only time they lost was each other. They beat each other like once, and then the next team was us on 3 points and Anderlecht on 3 points. So yeah, there's no way. This group isn't going to be one like that where there's like teams that just run away with it. I think ultimately it's going to be quite close.
Do you think
between them.
Atletico? Do you think Atletico will be on the front foot, even though I know they're predominantly a defensive, counter-attacking, shithousery style team? But do you think Simone will come to Celtic Park and let us be on the front foot, or do you think they'll come at us as well? I know they're a wee while yet, but I just want to when you, like you saying, we're looking at this group overall. It's not a PSG and a Barcelona that are going to come at us and Bayern Munich and just roll over us. But Atletico have got the talent there to do it, but I don't know if he can get away from just being that type of manager. Like, he's like the complete opposite Ange. Like, he will just not step away from that style. That's his style of football, like aggressive in the tackle, but very organised, very stiff. Protect the zero at all costs kind of manager. Do you think that's what we'll be up against there? Because if that's the case, I think we've got a chance of beating them at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I think they will. The Celtic Park game, they will come and try and play for either keeping it 0-0, but ultimately they'll look to try and catch us on the counter. They'll use all of the dark arts that they can to disrupt our play. I think they'll be quite happy for us to see a lot of the ball in that game, and they'll be quite happy to weather the storm, because they'll expect that Celtic will come out the traps flying in that game. So again, when you're the home team, usually it's on you. The incentive is on you to come out the traps and get the fans right into it. But I think Atletico Madrid are going to be one of the teams that will be just quite happy to weather the storm, and they're capable of it. They are capable. They've got that. They're a great defensive unit. And I've seen it too many times, David, at Celtic Park over the last few years, where the game kicks off. It is a ferocious atmosphere, but eventually that away team, once they get a feel for the game, once they've weathered the early storm, they start to get a hold of the ball and they just kill the crowd. The crowd start getting impatient, they get restless, the atmosphere starts to die down. That's what Atletico Madrid wants. So the key there is, got to score early against them. If Celtic come out the traps flying and do score a goal, then their plan will go out the window. Do I think that Atletico Madrid would turn up and beat us like a PSG would when they beat us like 5-0? Hopefully it's not famous last words, but no, I don't think we'll take a pasting off of them. But they will be quite happy to just shithouse their way to a victory against us, because that is what he's all about. Diego Simeone, obviously his record speaks for itself. It's worked very well over the years. He's got a phenomenal record, and I'm intrigued to see his style of play in person, just to see it. But I know it's going to be a frustrating night. And I can see them just coming and they'll be like, no, a 1-0 will do us here. We'll just let them have the ball. As long as we keep it tight at the back, they won't get through us. And so we need to make sure that we do find a way early in that game, and that will spook them.
Yeah, I think Brown Warriors right here. You have to try to bridge the gap in quality by being more clued up tactically, and I think that kind of comes into us maybe fighting fire with fire when it comes to the dark arts as well. We can't be. There seems to be this. We have this idea that we won't stoop to that level. We won't. We won't do that. We're Glasgow Celtic. We're better than that. Well, I wouldn't mind it if we started doing a wee bit more of that. Like, just play a little bit. I'm not saying being dirty. I'm not saying be a dirty team, but don't allow teams like that to come to Celtic Park and give them the freedom to perform the dark arts on us, and and just be oh, well, we're not used to this. Well, suck it up and do it back, because I think we've seen it in the past when Simone comes up against a team that will do the dark arts back at him. It's almost like he doesn't really know what to
Doesn't
do with
know what
that.
to do against it.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know what to do against it, and he gets himself so wound up that it's like all tactics any other tactics kind of go out the window. So maybe we need to just try and outsmart them that way.
Yeah. Well, do you remember like the one of the most recent European nights that we had that didn't go away, and it was due to a lot of that was Bodo Glimt of all teams had a bit of that in them, because the second goal they scored that night, the boy that now plays for Roma, that we all linked with, he was playing for Norway against Scotland. Solbakken, is it like Ollie Solbakken or something? His name was.
Is that the boy that was at Bodo Glimt?
He was terrorising us that night, and he terrorised us anyway. But the second goal that night came from, he was out wide and he got fouled allegedly, and he was down for ages, and he just stayed down rolling around while we were playing on. The referee was having none of it. The referee was like, no, get up, but he stayed down, and eventually the ball broke. Bodo Glimt won the ball back and they broke up the park, and suddenly as the ball began to come near to him, he just sprung into life like it was a miracle. Like suddenly he was recovered, no problem, and our defence were just like outraged by it. They were totally caught by surprise. And it's like wee things like that. And do you remember as well in that game, we got it back to 2-1. Maeda scored a header, and then Bodo Glimt did this really weird thing where they did like a wee huddle on the park, and it was just to frustrate us. It was just because like we've got the goal back, we just want to get on with it.
Yeah, let's not get it going again. They
We
killed
should
the
visit-
momentum. They killed the
Yes,
momentum by
exactly.
doing our own fucking huddle in our own backyard, man.
So we things like that, and it's just like even teams like Bodo Glimt were doing that to us, because again, you're right. I think people look at Celtic over the years and just think they won't stoop to that. They've got this idea that they wouldn't like do they types of things, and it's like sometimes we're going to have to just fight fire with fire, because a lot of teams in Europe come to Celtic Park and this is the type of stuff they do, and this is why they get results. Frustrate us, frustrate the crowd, kill any momentum any way they can, and yeah, Atletico Madrid sadly are the kings of that. So we're going to have to come at the traps flying, get an early goal against them, and yeah, that will spook them. Their game plan will have to change then.
I'm looking at this at the chat just now, and as usual, we've got our feisty Monty and Brown Warrior debate begins, and it's interesting. Sometimes I just want to get you guys on here, but Monty says, "Fuck the dark arts. We play pure, beautiful, inventive football."
Mm-hmm.
And my question to that is to you, Monty, which I'm sure Brown Warrior will agree with me. Now, don't beat me up, Monty, right? Where's that got us in the last 18 games? I think Mark said it last night. I think we've won 1 in 18 Champions League games or European games. Somebody can correct me on that stat, but I think that's what Mark said last night. But where has playing this beautiful, inventive, pure football got us when we're playing up against teams that use the dark arts? And I think most times, they do get us with the dark arts, and I just think maybe we need to start. We're saying stoop to that level. I don't think it's been stooping to any level. It's another part of the game. Look at how Lenny beat that Barca side. We had like 5% of the ball. You know what I mean?
It changes every time. I keep making this point. Every time that graphic does the rounds on Twitter, I swear to God, they're photoshopping the possession. Yeah. I'm like, what was it? I believe the official number was 23%, but I've seen it be as low as 10% on these photoshops that do the rounds. And I'm like, they're at it. I'm like, it couldn't have been that. It just couldn't have been that. No chance. So yeah, it always does. But yeah, it's just a case of just sitting in and just just put it on the counter and just don't let them have the ball, soak it up, and then just try and get what you can on set pieces and counter attacks. And it worked for Lenny, but we'll see on Tuesday night what he comes up against for the final. I'd say after all the talk in the summer about trying to take us to the next level, and I say all the words he's put out there about he's happy with the transfer policy and he'll coach the players he's given. Well, this is now the hand that you've been dealt, Brendan. So do what you can with it. Let's see what you do. But speaking just of the transfers,
that's absolutely true.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true.
We're on to you, Monty.
But going back to something on the transfer, and I know we've hammered the point home enough times about the transfer window, but I saw a story tonight as well from Celtic on the Twitter account. The rumoured revamp of Barrowfield's training facilities is now happening. This was something that was mentioned way back in the infamous Ange Postecoglou picture when he was with Dermot Desmond, and there was the WhatsApp WhatsApp CSC struck with all these long messages about things that were discussed. And it was mentioned about Barrowfield getting a revamp and whatnot for the ladies' team, and I think the B team or the whatever under the reserve team uses it. And yeah, it turns out it's actually happening. And a lot of fans are obviously wondering about the spend during the summer. Why were we a bit conservative with the money? Was it just the Celtic board being the Celtic board? Or was this part of it as well, where it was like, well, we can't go gung-ho with these big signings because we're basically going to be paying for that? To say this is one of these WhatsApp rumors that was mentioned months ago that most people just went, why would that even be a factor, has actually happened now. So I wonder if that did, because so far I haven't seen any concrete like mentions of how much this revamp is going to cost. So I did see somebody claiming it's like upwards of 20 million, which again, I don't know if that's definite, but if that's the case, then Jota's transfers effectively paid for it, if that's true. But is that really the priorities right now? Should we be looking to invest in the first team squad, especially after the manager publicly said about taking the club to the next level and talk about the standard of signings, and then it doesn't really happen, and then you see that's happened. So I don't know, man. It's kind of like, is this really the priority right now with what's been said? But like I say, we'll find out on Tuesday how it all goes after the investment we have had. But I did see that story tonight and was beginning to wonder, has that been one of the reasons why we've sort of been a bit sheepish with the money in the summer there, David?
I mean, what's the purpose of that they're wanting? Is it for better training facilities for the youth team and the women's game? Is that right?
I believe
Is that
so,
what they're
yeah.
saying?
And
I mean, it's one of those things. It's like you've had this car and the battery's about to die, and you're getting told, like, you need to get that new battery because if you want to run this car for another 20 odd years, you're going to have to replace that battery now. I know, but I've seen a nice big spoiler I want to put on the back of it, and that'll make it look cool, and that'll make it look relevant, and make it, because that's what everybody's talking about now. Is we've got to make, and I want to get a big fuck off exhaust or what. And they're like, aye, but the car will not move unless you get that battery. I know, but the spoiler, I've spent it all on the spoiler, so gonna have to just put up with that battery for a bit longer, And it's like, well, like you say, is that the priority right now? Like, does that really need to be? I get it. Look, the women's game's definitely on the up. It's in England and across Europe, not in Scotland. But obviously, we're trying to keep up with that, I guess. I don't know. And obviously, they want to improve the women's game, and I'm on board with that. I'm totally on board with that. Does it need to be spent? 20 million need to be spent.
There's Stephen Ray coming in and saying he says the cost is approximately 21 million. 21 million was the quote that I saw as well from somebody on Twitter. There you go.
So obviously, with the Women's World Cup just finishing, and obviously, like, there's been a lot of talk on that, and obviously the English League getting the TV rights and stuff. It's certainly more in the limelight now, and that's perfectly okay. I'm more than happy with that. And like I said, that's only a positive thing. However, I don't feel that spending 20 million on a facility it's not really going to improve them significantly to the point that it's a detriment to the full scale running of the club. If that makes sense. I mean, I'm not maybe the perfect person to be speaking on this, but I just don't feel that amount of money needs to be spent on making there's perfectly good training facilities that we could be upgrading to a certain standard that's not going to cost 20 odd million. And if that is the case, then I don't know if it's a case of just signal virtualing or
well, there's a few contrast opinions coming in about it in the chat, just saying that it would be good, and it can help improve the youth players coming in. Some people saying would it, so it's definitely causing debate. But yeah, ultimately, I see Stephen Ray quoted that 21 million is the exact same.
Female players for more than a season, Phil. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, that's fine.
I just seen a comment there that just. It's like, I mean, look at that, Jacinta.
Yeah.
She was like this unbelievable player that we managed, exotic signing that we got, and we can't keep hold of for a season because we don't have the cash you know, if you've got 20 million to spend on that, maybe give it to the players, the female players, give them a better wage to keep them at the club, and maybe the women's team will grow better by being able to spend the money on wages rather than wasting 20 million on getting fancy floodlights or whatever. I don't know. Like,
the same goes for the youth team in general, because that's another problem we've got with the B team players right now, is the amount of them that just, you know, their contract runs down and they leave. And we can't keep any of them as well at the moment. And we're talking about players coming through from our youth facilities, and we're not seeing that many of them over the years. So again, with better facilities, it will allow them to play all year round. So I think the plan would be for the B team to play at this new facility rather than having to use Airdrie Stadium, and say if it can be played all year round, you won't have issues with games getting called off in the leagues. But again, I think the bigger picture with the B team is the level they're playing at. It's all well and good having the facilities, and the plans do look good and so on, but that's another issue for another time that we've mentioned a few times on here about the standard that they're playing at right now. The reason why that there's so many of them, they just leave. It's like they can go and play for, like, a Ben Doak, for instance. He can go and join Liverpool and you can say, oh, he's just going to go and play in the reserves, albeit he's actually had a few opportunities now. Or he can stay in the Celtic B team, who are playing in the 5th or the 6th tier of Scottish football, with no repercussions for their results, because they can't get promoted. They can't into the main football pyramid in Scotland. The rules are that the Celtic B team, the Rangers B team, I think Hearts have now got a B team, they're not allowed to be in the top 4 divisions. So even if they won that, they're not allowed to go up. So it's like none of their games have got any consequence at all. So for me, I just feel that that's stifling their development. But that's a problem for the SFA, the SPFL, and Celtic to try and iron out some kind of. We need a proper reserve league with actual relegation and promotion and prizes for them to actually give them an incentive to play. But yeah, that's. On you go.
Sorry, NM's just hit it on the nail on the head. It's the right thing to do. It's absolutely bang on thing to do. It's just the wrong time to do it. It's just the wrong time to do it, I think. And like you said, see like a Ben Doak. Ben Doak's an exception, right? Tell me, out of the last 5, youth players that have left us to go play for first teams, like we've seen a boy go off to Bayern Munich. We've seen a boy go to Liverpool.
Morrison, that was his second name was Morrison. Aye.
There's a couple other names. The names escape me now, right?
Karaboko Dembele didn't. He went over to France to play for a team, and I think he's been loaned out now. Yeah, Blackpool. Aye.
Ben Doak is the only player that I can think of that's actually benefited for leaving Celtic to go and play first team football. I mean, like, come on, like, I'm not getting a game at Celtic, but if I go to Bayern Munich, I'll get a game there. Give me Guy's piece.
Yeah.
Bayern, come on, like, now I get the frustration from a player's point of view. Well, maybe say, well, look, I'll stay, but you either find a way to get me into this first team, or you put me out on loan to a club. Look what it done for Ayer. I know he wasn't a youth player, but Ayer goes out on loan. Christie goes out on loan, and they find a way in the first team by performing in our leagues. Not going, I'm going to fuck off the Bayern Munich's youth team. I'll get in that team. Yeah. And then when they realise that I'm not good enough for their team, I'll just get fucking released and I'll end up at MK Dons or fucking Fleetwood.
I was going to say Scott Brown, but not Scott Brown anymore.
We've been talking about in the last year, going, the way they're playing just now, it's not an attractive proposition to stay at Celtic to develop in the B team because of the standard of football that they're playing, and obviously the flashy lights of Bayern Munich and stuff is obviously going to be an attractive prospect, but the grass isn't always greener. Like, that's not a smart move for me. I can almost get it if they go, actually, you know what? Like, I've a team in League One in the English tier are interested in me, and they've got a proper plan that I can, it's a more of a standard level that I could probably compete in to get a first team position.
Yeah,
I can understand that. I can understand that more than going to Bayern Munich. Because it's a short term vision that these guys have. It's Bayern Munich. It's one of the best teams in the world football. Yeah, but what's your chances of actually okay, you might have better coaches and stuff like, and better facilities and training in Germany, maybe a better lifestyle. I don't know, right? But as a long-term career, which is what this is meant. I'm sorry, but you've chosen a career path of being a professional football player. Then maybe you should pick a pathway that's actually going to have a more long-term gain, a long-term vision. That going to, again, I'll use Fleetwood as an example, a lower English team with, end of the day, probably better, just as good a facilities as we have because of the ridiculous amount of money that they have down there, even at that kind of level, and a better pathway to get into the first team and play regular first team football in a reasonably competitive league and work your way up that. I mean, for God's sake, these guys are leaving at 17, 18, 19 years old. Bairns. We're not talking about 26-year-old Ryan Christie deciding to, like, I'm not, I'll go to Bayern Munich and sit on the bench, and I've got a short career. At 26 you maybe do, but at 18, 19 when you're picking to go and play for Bayern Munich's reserves and never see the light of a first team game ever again until you're released for Bayern Munich and you're not in a club, and then you end up at Fleetwood 4 years later anyway, and you're like, well, I could have done that 4 years ago, and who knows where I'd be now. But Doak is a perfect, but Doak's an exception because he is a real talent, and he is one that he is one.
Yeah, it looks like it. He seems to be getting some game time at Liverpool over the last year or so since he went there, and he looks like he will be one that did slip through the net. But again, I think the bigger issue is the standard that they play at right now. I think, when players are turning up and they know there's no consequence for the result today, realistically, and let's be honest, over the last couple of years, maybe longer, we haven't really brought many players through from that level. So again, they're probably looking at the progression, getting into the first team. I mean, I know Rocco Vata's names even came up as well tonight in the chat, because obviously we've got a problem with Abada being injured. Will Vata get in and around the squad at any point at all? Again, we're having Yang and Palmer, Maeda all there, and even guys like James Forrest still working about. And even we saw the bold Mikey Johnston was registered for the Champions League squad. So, Vata, I don't know, there was talk about him as well at the start of the season that he was already looking to leave, so he could be the next one as well. That were like, there's another one that got away. But speaking of one that we hope does go before we go, obviously breaking news. Do you want me to use the breaking news gift that we did?
Oh, please. Don't ever get rid of that.
Yes.
Breaking news.
Yes, the breaking news. Well, wheeling it out from the transfer episode. But yes, Stephen Ray saying that Stephen McGowan has just tweeted that Hatate is in talks for a new deal. Remember, Hatate had said
4 days ago.
The story was he wanted to put it back till September. Well, of course, we are in September. So yes, it looks like the talks are now ongoing. And if we get that signed, I still fully expect that he'll only be with us till the end of this season. I think this will be his last season, but it should push his value up anyway. It should definitely do that and cover Celtic's bases, essentially.
Well, speaking of Japanese players that might be leaving us, did you see the news that apparently Spurs are interested in Maeda? Did you see that?
Chat tonight. I saw Marc Cairney being quite excited.
Sell. You think that's a yank?
For that price, if that price...
at that price, I'll drive him down. And I'm one of his biggest cheerleaders in this on this pod. I'll drive him down for 25 million. I mean, he could probably run down there quicker, to be fair. But
well, given this, if it's true, if it is, and there's a huge if that Ange Postecoglou is interested in him, then Ange Postecoglou should know more than anybody what value he's worth and not try and lowball us here. Come on, Ange, how much is he really worth to you? I mean, we saw when he was a manager how often Maeda would always barely dropped him. There was games where he's having a stinker of a game, but other guys were getting hooked off first. So he clearly values Daizen Maeda very highly. So it's like, well, come on, Ange, show us your hand here. How much are you willing to pay for him? But 25 million, I was like, surely not. If that was even close to me, I'd be stunned. As much as English teams do spend some crazy money, I know they do that. I just can't see them offering us that. But I still think we would
Japanese international, mate.
Well, yeah, true. Japan are on fire at the moment. They are on fire. But they battered Germany and caused a Hansi Flick to get sacked through the week. So they're definitely doing very well. But yes,
There you go,
aye,
Stewie.
there you go. Yeah, exactly. Aye,
There
to
you
build
go.
another one right next to it. Build
Everyone's
two.
happy. Aye.
Yeah, there you go. It's
Build
all
a
sorted.
fucking Maida statue if he fucking sells for
Aye.
25 million.
Oh, that'd be insane. But yeah, we'll
could-
see what everything comes of that. But I would like to think that if Ange is coming in for him, he won't lowball us here and go off 4 million. No chance. Come on, you do better than that. That's chump change down in England.
I know. Listen, I mean, I wouldn't put it past. Like, I mean, we all know, and Ange knows as well. He's not technically gifted as our Maeda, but what he does bring is exactly what Ange needs for his style of football. So maybe, like you say, that's Ange knows what he's worth to him. It might be priceless to Ange, you know, that like
Maybe.
It'll be funny, maybe that Kulusevski.
Yeah, he's not really. True.
I didn't get it. I don't get that. I don't know why they kept. I know he was like an option to buy or something, and they took the option to buy him. I actually can't believe there was rumours that Jota was offered to Ange. Now we don't know how true this is. Another just internet paper talk. But if that's true, and I was saying to pretty much every client that came in the shop, I was like, Jota's agent will not be doing his job if he hasn't at least tried to see if he's not in that team's plans. Surely you're asking Ange the question, listen, you want him, you're getting him for free. You're getting a £25 million player that you've used before, that knows how you like to play for free. You're telling me, I'm not saying he would be a starter in that Spurs team, but surely he's a squad player. Surely.
Better than Kulusevski.
I think he's better than Kulusevski. I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's better than Kulusevski. Kulusevski, his decision making is probably up there with Abada's. Like, you know, it's just like he rarely makes the right call for me. I didn't even think Ange would have actually liked him. So if he's turning down Jota on a free, is he going to spend 25 million on Maeda? And if he does, then
be interesting to think if he did. But yeah, just to end on a depressed note, I did see a tweet now. I think it was from that Football Scotland account saying that apparently Jota was open to returning to Celtic with all what's going on over there, and obviously it never happened. But what a shambles that whole thing is, that whole debacle, trying to understand that what's happened out there.
I'm a Jamie there.
Yeah. Well,
Maeda's the guy that I'm like that. Please do well today. Please just do it. Like, come on. Like, I root for him every game. That's why I'm saying hat trick incoming. And he got it the one time I fucking didn't say it. But I do. I'm not turning down £25 million for Maeda, but I would be gutted to see him go. I would be gutted to see him leave. Like,
if Celtic get offered that for any of our players, we're not in any position really to turn it down. But I think would Ange come in for Maeda? Yeah. Would we get that price? I don't know. I think the price might be a bit low, but I don't think he would lowball us to the point where it's like a few million. I still think we'd get over 10 million, maybe might be a bit adventurous, do you think?
It's not even Ange, mate, that you're dealing with there with
of
Ange.
Course,
Ange, maybe he'd probably there's 30 million. Like, but you're talking about Daniel Levy here. Well, he'll probably offer us 5 million on a Kit Kat. If you're lucky, you know. But not a Kit Kat chunky. Just not even a 4. No, one of the 4 ones. Just a 2. Just your basic Kit Kat. That's what he'd offer you. Take or leave it.
Take that deal and shove it. But before we finish, David, just quickly, what do you think the score will be tomorrow?
I'm going to go with 4-0. Maeda hat-trick.
Maeda hat-trick. It's going to happen eventually. I did pick him as well at the start of the season, saying he'll be that guy in a year's time. We'll be going, wow, what a season he had. We'll wait and see. There's still a long time of the season to go. That one could still come in. I will go for a Celtic 3-0 victory on this one. Any victory will do, but obviously we would like it to be a bit of a statement victory. So a nice, a few goals scored and none conceded, and just to build on that momentum after what happened before the break there. We're getting that win at Ibrox. So obviously head into the Champions League with a nice victory. And yeah, we've got Livingston next week at Halmond Vale. So plastic pitch awaits. That'll be fun. But yeah, we'll deal with that next week when we get to it. But yeah, we will head off there. That's an hour and 10 minutes. David just flew in again. Flew in on the Friday feeling.
Quickly before we go, because you're the
Yes.
perfect person to ask this. I wouldn't ask Mark because he makes his feelings rather obvious in the group chat. But how are you feeling about Celtic Park finally making it onto well, it's no longer a FIFA game, but
EAFC 24.
EAFC. Yeah.
I mean, fine. I mean, I'll buy the game regardless, even though I've still not bought it yet. I did buy. I mean, I was always one that would buy FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer every year, and there was a spell for a few years where Pro Evo had Celtic Park and Ibrox in it. And after the novelty wore off, after a few games, it was just like just playing another game. I suspect I'll get the same kick out of the new FIFA/EAFC 24. It'll be a wee thrill at first. Oh, I'm getting to play it at Celtic Park, but then it all just blends into one. Then all the frustrating bullshit that comes with playing FIFA, particularly on Ultimate Team, will kick in, and I'll just be like, I hate this game. Why have I wasted my money on it again for another year? But yeah, it is cool to see it in there. Mate. It is good to see it, but I'd imagine the novelty might wear off pretty quickly because I'm a FIFA veteran, a frustrated FIFA veteran with that game. At times, I just hate it so much. I love to hate it. I love-hate relationship, and I still buy it every year, and I'll buy it again. I'll wait till just the night before launch, and then I'll order it, and then afterwards I'll just be like, why have I done this again?
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll let you finish off your goodbyes, mate.
No worries. No, but that's a fair point. That's fair enough to buy up because Celtic Park and FIFA for the first time. But yeah, other than that, we're heading off. So yeah, if you go to the game tomorrow, obviously enjoy it. However you manage to watch the game, say enjoy it, and hopefully it is a resounding victory. And PMP will be on tomorrow. Russell and Terry will be here back at 5 some point after the game. They'll be on for their usual fun and frolics. Hopefully they'll be talking about a nice resounding victory. And Sunday rolls around again after that. Sunday Blether will be on. David won't be on the Sunday Blether because he's moving house, as he said at the top of the show. So it'll probably Russell, myself, whoever will be on anyway. There'll be somebody will be here to do the Sunday Blether anyway.
I can't make it this Sunday, and I'll probably not make the following Sunday because I doubt I'll have the computer and all that set up. But I will be back. I promise. I know you just don't care that much, but I'll be back.
No, it's a good cameo to have you on. Thanks for coming on again. Because as I said at the top of the show, it was a bit of a scramble going on to get the show put together. But no, you're here and you're always here, mate. So thank you for coming on. And we're heading off. So everyone enjoy the rest of the night, whatever you got up to. And enjoy the game tomorrow. And we'll see you for PMP tomorrow evening. Catch you later, guys.
See you there.